Hi, everyone. Welcome to a special supplemental episode of a Naughty Mess Knitting Podcast. I am here to talk about some statistics and data, which is so fun. I've had a couple people ask for some extra information after I shared my spreadsheet here, which is what we're looking at. That's my yarn library, and I'm going to run through all of the spreadsheets I'm using most regularly, which I think there's like 4 of them. So I'll make this pretty quick. Sorry, but so let's just go through a couple of things. So just as a reminder, I got this spreadsheet shell from Ashley at Ben Knitter, who has a Google Sheet. I'll drop the link below. You can totally request access to the Google Sheet and then make a copy and then do what you want with it. The reason I'm using monday.com, which is this platform you see here, over Google Sheets is just because I want it to be able to put pictures directly in here, have it easily accessible on my phone, and have some of the built-in sorting capabilities. I do not pay for this tool. This is a tool I use for work. I made my own workspace at work. These are hidden and private from the rest of the company, but I can play in here in off hours. Okay, that's all. So let's go through what I'm logging. I have yarn being the name of the yarn. I do put the actual name of the yarn if I have it. If I don't, the neon scrap, unknown brand. Those are the kinds of things I put in. The brand, I put in the, oops, sorry. Switch over, Doc, switch over. Okay, I put in the brand. I have an automatic numbering system, so you can just see this number increase as we go down. There's no that's the only way I can have a line number, and that does switch if I reorder, so it's not like always number 1 or anything like that. This is the base, and I put the actual base name that comes from the dyer if I know it. Otherwise, sometimes I just put sock. This is a great example. I don't know anything about this yarn. It's a sock, unknown brand, neon scrap. If I know the club, I'll put that here. I do take photos of everything and upload them. It's really easy because I have a MacBook, so I just drag and drop. But I put the actual weight of the yarn, which these should look pretty familiar to everybody. I put color families that I identified as what I would have. Maroon and burgundy and red are 2 different colors. Green and teal and blue. I have white and cream, black and gray, brown, which is where tans and other things fall as well. And then multi. And you can because this is a tool, if you want it to create a new color, you can select from the colors that remain that aren't already used here, right? I don't want to keep that one, so I'm just gonna exit out. Okay, and then the attributes, this is a drop-down list I've created just over time, adding in things. So tonal, tweed, is it a two-tone? Is it variegated? Those are really the ones I use most, like variegated, tweed, self-striping. And then I almost always put the ply of the yarn because I do make decisions based on that. Fiber content. So this is from the yarn label. I'll put the fiber content, the yardage and grams per skein, and then I will weigh it and put in the actual number of skeins. This does make a difference. If you see something like I got 3 skeins from Sylvan of Night Scene, which was that granola DK from Sugar Plum Circus, and this is 3.399, so it weighed in at almost 10, a little over 10 grams more per skein. So that changes my yardage quite a bit, right? My date acquired is here. My acquisition type is here. And I do have my own categories: gifted, live, D-stash, and then the other D-stashes are over here: Ravelry, Instagram, Discord. If it was a giveaway winning, which I don't have a ton of those, but I have gotten a couple of skeins of yarn from Instagram giveaways. Purchased, then online, in-person yarn shop, yarn show, dyer. I have not found anything that falls outside of those categories, but I would add it if it felt significant. And then the purchase place, if it's a person from Discord, I will also use that. For example, I forgot, I have not put in all the information for this, but this is from Long Dog. And so if I just put that here, and then if this is one from Coley at Paisley Knits, and she is new to me, so I have not, I didn't put any of the details from that December yet. Typically, I mean, I put the weight in, and I just had to go back into my shop app, and I have not done that yet. I only have like 3, I think, to fill in, these 2 and the other Coley yarn, but I will do that. And then I put the cost in if I paid for it. The pattern, if I have a synced pattern. So like I have not weighed my Leith scraps yet. I will do that. I will subtract the numbers, but those 3 scraps, or those 3 yarns, all got synced to my Leith cardigan. And this one was in the category, oh, not yet used. This is on another board, but I can move it right now to used if I wanted to, because they are linked together. And then when the project completes, I will put the date here, which I did just complete this, last Saturday. Two Saturdays ago. So I'm going to add that in. So that's when I complete the project, which is also what we'll track when I use the yarn. I will put in the scrap numbers, which is actually all of it. So for this Sorella one, and this is grams used. This is just, you can hover over titles. I'm going to put this. I have no yarn left. If I trade or gift yarn, I will put that over here just so I can also subtract it. It's not connected to a project. So those kind of the 2 ways. If it's not going in my stash numbers, like I have very little scraps left of that. There's some things I've got bags to destash already or to gift. And so like these are sock scraps that will likely go away now. And then some of these are actually also yarns that are, here that are, like these are 2 yarns that are inside of, like, these are not yarn types I want to keep, and they are already in a bag to be donated. So, but I have not moved them into the all used up because I have not actually given that donation yet. So these are my stats. When we look at the actual statistics, you can see, like something just subtracted out and it resummed there, but you can just see the same charts that I showed you in that other video, and they're there and they auto update. The one thing I don't have yet is, like, I did not in my main table add the total yarn used in yards, and I should probably also do that. It'll do the same auto calculation of what was expected, what was used, what was, it will use this number as the calculator of yarn used, and I will then be able to track how many yards I knit this year. So like, yeah, I might give away some yarn. That's not going to get tracked there. So I'll do some sort of exclusionary stats, because I want to know how much I actually knit versus how much just left stash. That number I can calculate by taking my handy dandy screenshot here of saying I had 286,000 in the beginning of the year, and now I have whatever, hopefully 276 or less. that's the goal. Okay, so let's go to the next table. I will show you my pattern library next. Pattern library is all of the patterns I purchased. I have some in here that are kind of old, like, well, this one is actually pretty new. But I have some of these older ones in here that I just like don't always put all the statistics in for. I need to go back and finish filling them out. But I was going to put files in here, but honestly, that seems like a lot of trouble since so many of these are in Ravelry. They're in my email. Sometimes I will just drop the file in because I don't want it to get lost forever. If I have filled them out well, then I have like this one is, I wonder what I put her in. This is Claire Jackson. And it even says here, Claire perfectly knotted. I don't need the Claire in there, so I will just update this. So I've changed this a couple of times just to reflect like the things I'm using and things I need a little bit more. Usually when I'm using a pattern, I'll go in, leaf notwithstanding, but I did fill in some statistics and things. I just didn't put the date that I bought it. And it will, so again, this is the pattern name. I put in the type. This does fill in things to the project log that I currently have, but these are my categories. So pullover, cardigan, tea tank, skirt, scarf, and cow shawl, 2 super different projects. Socks, headwear, which includes headbands, hats. That's really all I've ever knit. That's headwear, I think. Baby blankets, stuffy decor, mitts and gloves. If I ever did full-size blankets, I might make that a separate category, things like that. The acquisition type. And so this is for the pattern. Did I test it? Was it gifted? Gift after test separate. I gifted for like samples is another time I have gifts. I've also just been gifted patterns, right? So like different. Bought, free, purchase, and then always free. So I put free purchase as a different category, which is silly, but sometimes they have like it's free if you grab it right now and leave a comment, and then it's always free, being like it's on a blog or somewhere else. And then I'll put the link to the pattern. So I have some that I loaded in during my like little winter break, but I did not go through all the dates acquired because you can just like see them from the Ravelry page. Actually opening the date of purchase from Ravelry is a pain in the butt. Okay, so I have also the designer name, the link to the pattern. Again, if I went in and did that when I was putting in the names, the designer, their name here, that is a drop down, which means like if I put them in once, I can just find them again. Their Instagram handle, if I have that, their suggested, and that I will find either from the pattern or, from the Ravelry page. And then the suggested yarn I have in here for a lot of things. Like these are not our greatest examples. Better examples are here down, things that are used in here. So like, I actually got these were gifted patterns from Heidi when I bought some of her D-stash yarn. So like you can see I went in and I tried to fill those out. Again, this is sort of just like a place where I can see things so that I can link them to what I want to use yarn for in the other place. It's not necessarily like, I don't have any pictures in here of the patterns or anything. But it does help a little bit so I don't have to replicate all of the things. If I use a pattern a bunch of times, it just, shows up once and I can reselect it a bunch of times. So this is my project tracker for 2023. I'm going to show you 2024. Hold on. There. Oh, I never renamed it. Oh, it is. Okay. So this is my project tracker for 2024. So this is my categories here. And this is pretty short. You can see I don't have anything but what I've actually been working on right now. So I have a dream list, and here it's just like things I want to be doing. I'm going to plan to load my 12 in here so they stay top of mind, also in my Make 12, also in here. So I will put those, and that also will just, and I'll do the link, which is in the back end here, to the pattern library for those, because I do have all 12 of those listed. I did not move over my Pillars of Simplicity. I didn't actually put it on my 2023 projects either. I will add those notes in here because I need a couple of the stats. So I need to actually make that one. But otherwise, it's what I'm working on and what I have finished so far. So I put in the name of the pattern. Who is it for? Like this one is for me. Also, I just didn't fill in some of this stuff when I added this last week. The type, this is not an actual like with anything knit, so this is just going to go in as nothing. If I'm knitting it with friends or in a traditional make along or knit along, it goes here. There's test, sample, gift, test and gift, promo, make along, and gift. We talked about those categories previously. This is just a gift for Mike, so that's what that is. For the podcast episode, actually, I'm gonna hide this column. This one was actually a column I created just for my end of year, and so I will actually probably use that throughout the year of just, do I have it in the house? And so if it's in the house, it'll stay in there. So my date started, my date completed. I actually have one to add in here right now, you guys. We'll talk about that in this week's episode, which I'm going to film on Sunday. The test deadline, if I have one, or just like the deadline I wanted to have for the project. I am clearly not going to hit the 31st. We talked about, everybody said it would be flock. So I'm going to put in here 8/14, which I think flock is like the 12th to 14th. And that's when it's really due. I want to still do it before then. Oops. 2024, which would be then the 10th. Okay. How many days it takes me to complete it, which this just auto-calculated. The Instagram status, so did I post to Instagram? If I'm waiting on the release, this is really helpful for tests. Posted a whip if I have to do these things. If I'm like deciding I don't want to post this, I'm just going to put not post. Then for those, they're going to go to the group, not posting on Instagram, and that's its final resting place. If it's posted on Instagram, that's its final resting place. Could I just have them in finished and sort this way? For sure. But I like to just have them in their end places. I actually, what I should add on here, and I do have it back here, is that this little category says yarn tracked, and it's a checkbox. If I track the yarn for this, I will check mark it so that I know, like, I did not yet put my Leith numbers in, so I did not check this box yet. Okay, going back over here. I have also the posted date for Instagram, Ravelry date, or Ravelry information. So is it on information Ravelry? This actually is in here, just I need to add photos still. The pattern library, if I want to connect it to the pattern library, which I do this for most patterns to start with, but I hadn't done this for the Chimera because I sort of added in a weird time of the year last year. The link, I just never renamed these. This is the designer name and their Instagram handle, so it's all here in one place. And then if I got compensation for a test, which might just be one free pattern, something, then I'll put received. If I do something like when I did my Wool and Pine designs, I would put free design, then what my free design was, and this is just a text box, and I would add that here. Just a way for me to track. And we are going to go to my Knitwear Tracker. This is the last one, everybody, and this Knitwear Tracker is how I have been tracking what I have been wearing. And I'll show you the table because I think that's the more fun part, but I've just been labeling them wear 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just because I'm not going to put the name of the thing every time when I'm putting the name of the thing over here. And that makes it just easy because when I add an item, I just make it one number bigger. You will see one that's not categorized, and I will tell you what it is, but I do put the date that I wore it, then the sweater or the cardigan. They are separate categories because I imagine I'm going to grow my cardigans quite a lot this year, and my sweaters. Probably going to have a sweater 1 and 2 because I only have so many. There's only so many you can add here, like more than this, but maybe only one more column, so it's not enough. And then tees and tanks. And I might, do lightweight sweaters, and, whenever you categorize these, I can just wholesale move anything that I need to. And then the wear place. We talked about this before, but I have out and about, podcast only, knit night, work. Those are it. That covers my life. I haven't had anything really different yet. And this is the one I wore to work yesterday. And my one thing that's not on here is my Camaro, because I am not going to I'm gonna donate it. So I'm not gonna add it in here because it's only gonna have one life and it can't take up one of those precious little categories. So in my chart, I've created a couple charts right now because I don't have a lot of different wear types. I have not added a ton of things in. So the Leith, you can see how many times I'm wearing the Leith. It's the only cardigan I have, so it's the only one that's going to show up here. But I do have wears by place. So if it's podcast only, you can see like what right now it's just showing the dates that I've worn things. So it shows like I can do this by month eventually too. So how many times I wore a sweater in January to work versus June. Tees, tanks, and also the all sweater wears. So I can just see how many times I've worn each of the sweaters so far. So like my duotone, my Ali's Light, I've actually gotten lots of wear out of. And my Doppio are the heavy hitters for January. I think I have worn all of the others except for like my Cinnabar sweater, which is the one with the drapey sleeves. I have a hard time pulling out. So, and so they're going in here. They're definitely being worn. And then I have my wears by month. Once February pops in here, we'll see the total number, and then you can see how many for each of the items. This is only tracking sweaters because I have them in separate categories. It does make it a little bit harder to track to just like in the way that these easy templated things work is that it makes it a little bit harder to track, two of these status columns in one. So we'll see. No tees worn this year, but obviously that's coming. So I may rearrange like how some of this is tracking. This is the first time I've done it, and definitely super interesting so far just to even see like how many wears I've done in January, like 4 for some of these, but only 1 for other ones. And this, I think, is going to inform some of the things. And because I have this, I've also intentionally tried to wear some of these things that, like, I don't wear the Claire de Lune a ton. And so, I'm seeing the numbers and I'm like, oh, I could pull that out. No, I don't go here and see, like, oh, what I have not worn recently. But, I do, because I track every day, I am aware that, like, I had an entirely green week. The first week back to work, and that was my comfort week, and it was great, and it's totally fine. So yeah, just mixing it up. And those are my stats. So those are my stats. That's my tracking. I am finding it really interesting to do it this way. If this burns me out or I don't like it, I will stop doing it. But so far, I feel like it is making some things clear to me. And hopefully that will just, make me a better knitter for my wardrobe. And then the yarn stuff is always just, it's yarn stuff. I do really prefer it over Ravelry for a lot of reasons, but mostly just for like the sorting and matching capabilities. The searching in there is a lot better. So, if I ever want to find something and I just find it a lot easier. So, if I know I want it to look for yarn that I know I have on hand and I know the name of it and I want to search for it quickly, I can do that. So something I know I have on hand that's going to be down the list a little bit is, I have some fun. Wolf Rayette from Beachy Breeze, who's Samantha, who's just renamed her yarn company, but that's the name that the band is under. And when I bought it, and I can just go in here and I can look at all the stats. That is super helpful to me. So yeah, anyway, that's just my preference. And here you go. Now you know a little bit more about how I keep stats in all of my various categories. I hope that it was helpful. If you have more questions, let me know. And I will talk to all of you in my regular podcast episode that will come out sometime Sunday or Monday this week. Thanks. Bye.